So I'm here with Angleton Trucks here in Angleton, Texas, and this F250 has a P2457 code, or it did. We've already fixed it, and I didn't think to make the video before we fixed it, but it's a P2457 that correlates to EGR system cooling performance, something along those lines. And typically when you go to a dealership, they're going to recommend that you replace the EGR cooler or a very expensive repair. And being a dealership, and like a lot of guys that own these trucks, we don't want to jump immediately to the most expensive option because often it's not the most expensive option. So I'm going to show you what it was and how easy it was to fix for free in our case. Sometimes it just requires a vacuum hose, but I've heard all about the vacuum hoses breaking along here. You know, it goes from here on this EGR bypass, which when you turn the truck on and it's cold, this arm will close. It'll go up here like that. And it's actuated by a vacuum, which is this line that goes to here. So there's no break or leak in our vacuum line. What it actually was is this arm was stuck like right there. Even when you turned it off, it didn't go back. So what I did actually is I was able to touch it and it sprung back. And a lot of people will tell you that you just need to actuate this back and forth a few times and it'll be fine. That wasn't quite good enough for us because we didn't want it to happen again. So actually I took some lube here, and you see this little arm down here, this actually goes kind of up and down. You see how that goes up and down right there? So I opened it up like that, and I sprayed some chain lube, in our case, down into that little arm, you know, right in there. I got the little straw up under there. And then I pushed it back down like this and actuated a few times. And it's a lot more free. And then I was able to squeeze the needle up under this little ball joint where the plastic arm meets the metal. And I was able to get some lube up in there as well. And then I put a little bit kind of along this area. And now it works freely, very well. It's not gonna have this problem again. And like I said, in our case, it was a free repair. If it happens to be the vacuum hose, then you just gotta buy a little piece of vacuum from the store. So I'm gonna start it up here and we're gonna see how that thing works. So remember, right now it's open, and when I start the truck up, so you see how it's sucked up in there to bypass the EGR? Now the way you can test this, you see how it works right here is, I'm going to take this off. See how that arm goes? Yeah, take it on and off, you can see it actuate. It wasn't doing that before, and that caused the EGR code. So if you're not sure if you got vacuum or not, all you gotta do is just, test it here, on and off a few times. You can also put your finger over here and feel if it has vacuum, if that's working or not. Sometimes this piece goes bad. Sometimes this hose is cracked, this PCV elbow or a little rubber elbow. And then sometimes it just needs to be freed up right here with a little bit of some kind of lube. I'm sure penetrating oil will work. Probably WD-40. But we use chain lube for everything. We always lube up these hinges. Tailgates, we always grease up the tailgates on every truck that we get in because it just makes life so much easier. See how much easier it is to open? We always lube up these little parts right here. Every single truck that comes in, and it just makes it so much nicer. But if you get the P2457 code, that's all you got to do. I've heard that P0401, I think, is another EGR code that could be related to the vacuum hose. But either way, this is a good system to check right here. This little solenoid hose and plunger. And between those three things, that's going to cause a lot of EGR problems that people get quoted $2, $3, or $5,000 at the dealership. And we've had this running, you know, so before the video I had it run for about 20-30 minutes, and there's just no engine light anymore. Let's solve that problem. So if you get a P2457 code, that's the first thing to check.